Did I not give enough time?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. All right, so some of the things, what type of healings occur? What did you see in John 5 and John 9? What type of healing occurred? Physical. What do you mean?
Like they were both like physically had some kind of disability in some way. So like one was an invalid, the other one was blind.
Yeah.
And then they went from being like the blind could see and the invalid could just walk.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else? Any other sort of healing? Yeah, like.
There's also a spiritual going on as well. One led to repentance, the other one led to just, the God design staying in sin.
Yeah. There, and you see the difference. It's so clear. But yeah, there is spiritual healing. Any other like little thing? Yeah.
They were both set free from the judgment of the Pharisees because there was a clearer contrast between you can be chill with the Pharisees in a synagogue and you can trust in Jesus. You can't, have both be your standard.
Got it. Yep. Well, there you go. Other thoughts? Yeah, you see, even with the guy at the pool of Bethesda, you can see he does get healed of his physical illness. There's also suggestions that maybe societally now he is no longer confined to sitting at home and waiting for other people to come and do things. Now he's free to maybe pursue a trade, maybe be able to rejoin kind of society. So in that way, sure. But yeah, we see that there are problems with that. Okay, so between the two of those, we definitely see spiritual healing, particularly in John 9. We see physical. What are some of the afflictions or challenges that arise with that?
Persecution and possible excommunication from the community.
Yeah. What types of challenges would those be? Those big categories and stuff.
I definitely see in John 9 a lot of blame shifting.
Yeah.
Well, you tell me, you're his parents. You saw it. Well, I don't know. Ask him.
Yeah.
It's a lot of blame shifting.
Yeah, personal, familial tension. On top of what you're saying, the religious and social issues. Because if you were in danger of being thrown out of the synagogue, then for them, that wasn't just a religious thing. That was a social issue. That was how their society was based around. This is Jerusalem we're talking about, the whole thing. So absolutely. Other challenges?
I mean, the fact that they were healed on the Sabbath, both of them, which I think is interesting that he picked the Sabbath to have encounters with them. Like, that was a big deal.
Absolutely.
They had to explain that.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Which is a much longer discussion than we have time for. But yes, great points.
I would just say that the Pharisees' mindsets were being challenged in not just what they were thinking, but what they were doing. How they were adhering and enforcing the law. And Jesus is saying, okay, but you're wrong.
Yeah. right. Like, wonderful point. Super wrong. Yeah, which brings a religious, which brings a social, which brings in, for us, ecclesiological issue. Yeah. There's also something really interesting that Jesus helps the man at the pool of Bethesda, the one unable to walk. He heals his body, but he doesn't heal him financially. He says, pick up your mat. There's nothing else. Like, oh boy, I guess there's, what am I supposed to do here? Okay, now, last question. What were the results of these two things, the incomplete healing? What were the results of that? Yeah.
Well, the man in John chapter 9 experiences spiritual renewal, repentance, and he becomes a believer.
Yeah.
The man in John chapter 5, well, he's still, we don't know if he eventually turns from repentance, but when Jesus leaves him, he's been healed physically, but spiritually he's still lost.
Yeah. Absolutely. Lord?
I'm so sorry, I completely forgot.
No, that's okay. It was a great answer. Any other thoughts? Oh, yeah.
Well, it seems like the blind man became a disciple.
Yeah.
Because the man was saying stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was just saying more hatred
Yeah.
I would imagine that there's conflict there. Internally, what do I do?
Definitely, yep. The last one over here, or somebody? Is that, yeah. I'd like to point out here that absolutely we see great things happen, but it also lights a fire to other parts of their life. The blind man gets healed, and you think this is the great moment where he's restored to everything, but it completely actually jacks up his life. So he's healed, but he's not healed. And then you have the man, the invalid, who is healed, but then this new life that he's received, the new promise. And finally, I've been waiting 38 years, which is the exact same amount of time, by the way, that the Israelites were wandering in the desert. Side note, which is in Deuteronomy, they round up to 40 in the other things. But he's been waiting for so long, and now I've got life, but I'm holding on to my mat, and I am not letting it go. And yet the man who was willing to let things go because the rest of his life was, even though it was falling apart, he's the one that experiences discipleship. He gets Jesus. And what we see here is that the healing cannot be your goal. It must be Jesus.
Yeah.
Each one of us have experienced healing in some way. And maybe you're sitting here right now, you are in the midst of incomplete healing. You become a disciple, but you're still wrestling with mental health. You become a disciple, there's still issues in your family, your finances. Maybe other things are completely falling down. What in the world? God, I thought you were supposed to heal me. He did. But he's the reward and not the healing.
Yeah.
That is the entirety of the book of John. It's almost, he's not discouraging us from believing in the signs, but he goes, the signs are, it's me. It's always been me. And just because you haven't been made whole doesn't mean there's necessarily anything wrong with you or God. It means you are on this side of heaven.
Yeah.
And what's incredible is that the man who's born blind, what is he able to do afterwards? He is able to even look the Pharisees dead in the eye and go, do you want to be his disciples too? Whoa! This guy who just got healed, he probably really, really smells bad. And this guy who the rest of it is falling apart, he's staring down authority right there in the eyes, knowing that the rest of his life could fall apart, and he still says, Jesus.
Yeah.
He is still able to bring the kingdom right there, bring Jesus to these people right there, and try to spread the gospel that he had just experienced, his good news. And that's the same for us. For your incomplete healing, wherever you are, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
The incomplete parts of your healing, or the one that started your healing? Now Katie's going to come up and do an amazing section on John 4 and the Samaritan woman.
Hello.
Katie, 1 second.